Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's a preview video for the quarterfinal between Casper Ruud and Matteo Berrettini. We're going to break it down. It's going to be an extremely interesting match because I do feel like it's a 50-50, and we'll discuss the head-to-head, how they've looked at the US Open as well, form-wise, and then break it down from a more tactical standpoint and look at how the match might play out and what to potentially look out for as well. So it's going to be an interesting video, I think, and one that, I'm going to have a real think about how things may play out and try and visualize it. Before we get into it, remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new. And if you're watching on a podcast platform or listening on a podcast platform, remember to leave a rating or review. It really does help us out a great deal. Thank you to everyone that is still liking the videos. Thank you to everyone that is subscribed. Thank you to everyone that is leaving ratings and reviews. Also, if you want to help out even further, you can do so by, of course, hitting that join membership button, and there's some cool perks on there as well. We'll also be doing Jabeur versus Tomjanovic later on this evening, so do stay tuned for that. Cool, let's get into this. Casper Ruud and Matteo Berrettini. This is the first men's quarterfinal, and the head-to-head is actually in favor of Casper Ruud. It's 3-2, but we can talk about the head-to-head first, actually. Let's do that then, as I've mentioned it. So they've only actually played once on hard court, and that was at the US Open in 2020, and Berrettini won in straight sets. All other matches have been on clay. Berrettini's won once on clay against Ruud, which is in Madrid in 2021. Ruud beat Berrettini in Switzerland, in Gstaad, not too long ago in July, 24th of July to be exact, in 3 sets. This, of course, is a hard court, so you almost feel like it then swings back towards Berrettini in the sense that, yes, he's probably not the favorite, but it then, I think, swings to 50-50 again because 4 out of the 5 matches have been on clay. Yes, I get Berrettini's won the 1 match on hardcore, but Ruud has improved quite a lot since that match in 2020, 2 years ago. Then we can look at their routes to this stage. So Kyle Edmund in the first round for Casper Ruud, straight set win for him. Then 4 sets over Van Rijthoven, who's been in good form. So that was a good win, I thought. 5 sets against Tommy Paul. That was a fantastic match. It really was, until the final set where Tommy Paul, I think, just didn't have anything left and got bageled. But so many tight sets of 7-6, 7-5. And it could have gone either way. I think if Tommy Paul had managed to obviously take one of the tiebreakers, he would have won. It just wasn't to be for him. And then beat Moutet in 4 sets, Casper Ruud. So it hasn't been plain sailing, only the 1 straight set of victory in the opening round. But of course, he's here. Similar type of story, really, for Matteo Berrettini, actually, because like Casper Ruud, he's had a 5-setter, and then the other 2 matches have been 4 sets apart from, 4 sets, and the first round was a straight set victory. But yeah, so we've gone Jarry straight sets, Grenier 4 sets, Murray 4 sets, Daric Fokina 5 sets. So a pretty similar route, a same amount of sets played. And it's interesting because both these players you would normally expect to come through probably a bit more comfortably than they have. Casper Ruud has never actually made a quarterfinal of the US Open, but given his form, given that he made the final in Miami, and how he's improved recently, you would probably not be surprised to see him at this stage. For Berrettini, there were some question marks around, I think, fitness-wise. He's managed to, I think, bat those away with his performances at this tournament. He hasn't been incredibly good, but he's been solid and solid enough, right, to get it done. Let's talk about it then from a tactical point of view and how it might play out. So I think for Berrettini, there's the clear and obvious attribute that Berrettini has, which is his best attribute, his serve. His first serve is massive. Second serve isn't too bad itself as well. And the biggest problem that Casper is going to have the whole of this quarterfinal is he going to get a look into the Berrettini serve? Now, part of that will be down to Berrettini, and 1, how many first serves he's making. 2, would he make a couple of unforced errors behind the serve if Ruud gets it back into play? How's he backing up the serve? It's not just, okay, I can make 70% of first serves in and I'm going to win the game to love. Of course not, because this is the top level. Casper Ruud will make returns. There may be some of them might be short, but if Berrettini misses some of the short balls that he should put away, if he maybe doesn't hit as many first serves as we expect as well, then Casper Ruud, who knows, will he step in? I'm not sure. So definitely something to look out for is Berrettini and how he serves. And I think more the dynamic between Berrettini's serve and Casper is returning, because Ruud will most likely stand very deep in his return position. We saw it with Medvedev and Nadal. They did it in the fourth round and they lost. And that's not to say that if you have a deep return position, you're going to lose. But against big servers, so they played TFO and Kyrgios, who both have big serves. Berrettini's in a Kyrgios type mold, you would say, serve potency wise. Yes, you can stand further back, but it then leaves you vulnerable to the serve and volley. And Berrettini will serve out wide and come to volley if Ruud just camps 5 meters, 6 meters behind the baseline. So I think for the first serve, I don't mind it as much for Casper Ruud, and maybe he'll try and vary up his return position. I think for the second serve return, I get that Berrettini has a good kick serve for the second serve. And again, I think it's around 100, 110 miles an hour at times, which is a big second serve. But Ruud should still be trying to take it on the rise. And obviously, he doesn't mind taking it on the rise because, he's a fantastic clay court player and he'll be used to taking high balls and be comfortable with it. I guess the main issue is not going to necessarily be the bounce of the serve or of the court. It's going to be the speed that it comes through at, and is he going to be rushed? Now, I think he might have to take a little bit of a gamble there and say, let's step in a little bit. That doesn't mean stepping on the baseline. It just means stepping in maybe, 2 meters behind the baseline, and then have your kind of trigger movement moving forward. Because I just feel if he stands too far back, Berrettini, the biggest thing for me that makes him so dangerous behind his serve is his forehand. And if Ruud is so far back, most likely he, especially even if he tries to go down the line to the backhand from the juice court, or on the ad side tries to go backhand cross court or into out on the forehand on return, if he's standing so far back, most likely it's not going to be a return that's coming back quickly. It's not going to be a return that's coming back flat or flatter. It's going to be a more loopy, slower return into the backhand corner. And Berrettini is good enough to move around his backhand quickly enough and adjust to then make that into a forehand and go into him with the forehand, which ends up being a hammer forehand or into out. And you don't want to let Berrettini have a lot of forehands. You want to access the backhand as much as possible, because yes, the backhand has improved, but it's still nowhere near the level of potency as his forehand. His backhand slice is pretty good, and that's another, I guess, thing to bear in mind is tactically, how is Ruud going to be able to deal with the backhand slice? He will slice himself as well on the backhand side. His backhand is probably just as, I hate to say it, but just as average as Berrettini's. I mean, Berrettini down the line with the backhand can be pretty good. Ruud cross court can be pretty good with the backhand, but generally, in terms of if we're comparing it to the guys at the top level, their backhands are average. Both players will try and run around it. Ruud will do the same thing. He'll try serve and make the next shot a forehand. Serve 1+ plays. All he's looking to do is make that into a forehand, that next ball. And that means running around it. It means obviously, okay, then it leaves, the forehand corner pretty bare. He's going to have to defend really well on that side. Same with Berrettini. Both guys will try and slice forehands defensively to get back into the rally if they need to, if their forehand isn't good enough. So I think Ruud is going to have to try and use angles, especially into the backhand of Berrettini in those exchanges. I think Berrettini cross court in the forehand to forehand exchanges, I feel like he will have some success. But there's going to be a lot of forehand to forehands from the backhand corner in a way where they're both going into out potentially. And I have a feeling that Ruud, he can hit like a flatter angled into out forehand that might cause Berrettini problems, that it might be low, kind of at an angle, and he'll have to stretch. So I'm wondering whether he might have some success with that, because he does find good angles, especially with the high topspin he puts and exerts on the ball. So does Berrettini, and that's why I guess we might see a lot of points where they're trying to drag each other out wide rather than blast each other off the court, which will be intriguing to see. Berrettini, I think, will try to come to the net when he can. He's not like, he's not a serve volleyer like Maxim Cressy, but if it's a shorter ball, he will back himself in the net, and he's a good enough volleyer to do so. Casper Ruud is also a very good passer, though, so that'll be interesting to see whether he's able to lob him or pass him, and whether Berrettini is approaching the net correctly. He needs to approach the Ruud backhand. I mean, that's just a given. Don't approach the forehand, just approach the backhand. More likely than not, he'll get an easier volley because of it. For Casper Ruud, I don't really see him coming to the net a lot, if I'm being honest with you. And I think that's probably because at the end of the day, he's not someone who is a massive presence at the net. And also, he just seems more comfortable trying to dictate from the back of the court. He'll need to at least vary it up in terms of paces and not let Berrettini get into a rhythm. Because if Berrettini gets into a rhythm, then he starts crunching the forehand. You're in a world of trouble, right? And interesting, actually, though, I say Ruud doesn't like coming to the net, but he actually came to the net 44 times against Mute, which to me is very interesting. And I have seen him serve and volley a few times as well. So I'm wondering if he will come to the net or not. If he does, I don't think that's a bad option against Berrettini, especially to approach the backhand side. Of course, again, the approach needs to be good. I wonder if he should slice the approach at times, whether he's comfortable doing that, get Berrettini really low in an uncomfortable position for him, right? 6'4", 6'5". Ruud is not that size. He's 6'6", It's more comfortable for him. And try and get involved. Like when Berrettini's slicing on the backhand, can Ruud, will he be comfortable enough to then hit the backhand, or will he try to go into it? I think if there's any slices from Berrettini cross court that aren't good enough, or aren't deep enough, don't have enough pace on it, Ruud needs to try and pounce on it and make sure his movement around his backhand is fantastic to then make that into a forehand and then punish him for it, because then it'll make Berrettini think twice about slicing, and then that will be an advantage to Ruud going forward. So there's lots of things to think about, genuinely, which is intriguing. Both guys are going to target the backhands on serve placements, I would imagine. Ruud will try and go down the tee from the juice side, out wide on the ad side. Now, of course, they'll vary it up, but for the most part, that's what I can see happening. Berrettini is so good. Again, he will go to the backhand, but he will also go into the body. He may go out wide from the juice side if he's coming to the net, or just he hits a lot of aces as well. Short slice serves out wide from the juice side, so he won't be scared about going to the forehand if need be, because he'll probably be thinking, well, it's not going to come back if I go to his forehand because of how accurate my serve's going to be. In terms of predictions, because I talked a little bit about Analytiki, and you can probably tell by the way I've spoken that I'm not 100% sure about where I fall on this. And I feel like it's probably going to be 5 sets, honestly. And I know both guys have struggled a little bit to really close matches out in straight sets. So I'm going to go 5 sets, and I'm going to go... Am I going 5 sets? Yeah, I'm going to have 5 sets. I'm going to go Berrettini. Am I going Berrettini? It's a tough one, Yes, I'm going to go Berrettini 5 sets. That's my prediction. Let me know your thoughts. Leave a rating or review. Like and subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well. And we'll see you later on for Jabeur versus Tomljanovic. Make sure you click the notify me button, notification bell as well to get alerted to that. Thanks so much, guys.